Yes, a very familiar place. Sundapaji with us. We had round one of all the teams facing one game. We are not going to talk about the ongoing match between New Zealand and Netherlands. We'll focus elsewhere. Till yesterday are the games we're going to focus. We start off with Paji. You have seen in as a whole, you have seen all the teams facing one games each. Which team impressed you the most in the field?
Or tough choice. Tough choice. I think for unexpectedness, I liked New Zealand beating England. I think that was the biggest game. Two more evenly sides. And then yesterday, India beating Australia. I think out of all the teams, if you were to say which team would a 50-50 game, you would say it's either England beating New Zealand and then India and Australia was a toss of the coin as well. So any of those two. But I think I was more shocked the way New Zealand beat England. The ease of it was just amazing. They were full control of the whole match. So maybe New Zealand for me was the biggest one. And then maybe India yesterday, the way they came back, that little bit of fight after losing the 3 wickets and the way they came back and won the game. I think those are probably the two big games, the two winners of this, round was those two teams because obviously taking points against your rivals is the biggest thing,
Absolutely.
and India, Australia, big rivalry, and then England and New Zealand, big rivalry, and at the end of the group stages, those almost important positions of 1 and 2 is going
Yeah.
to be based on those two.
Absolutely. And like you already said about these two games, let's go back to match number one. England versus New Zealand. Win the toss. I think New Zealand won the toss, elected to bowl, or England won the toss, elected to bat first, rather. Uh, what was your opinion? England poor with the ball, or England were a few runs short with the bat?
Few run short with the bat, and also the variety of their bowling that was there for everyone to see. You know, Adil Rashid only recognised spinner, spinning backups, pace backups in Wokes and Curran together didn't work. And then Mark Wood, he got hit. So if your premier fast bowler gets hit, then you've really got to rely on your not so your all rounders type of thing. I think that was the problem. And then um, the way Ravindra batted, Conway, we expect good
Exceptional.
things in India,
Yeah,
but for Ravindra, bright future for that guy. And today he's made another
absolutely.
50. So the
Yes,
guy's
today
in
another.
very, very good nick.
Absolutely, he's looking so solid at the top. But like you said, you said in the marathon show as well, you want Reece Topley in the side. In case you want another new ball bowler who is a wicket taker, along with Chris Wokes, who is the player you are thinking of putting in aside in the from the playing 11 England has?
Probably would have to be Wokes. Yeah, and I say you go Reece Topley, you got your right arm fast bowler, then you got your left army in Curran, because that's what I said in the preview show. If Willie plays, you drop Curran, and if Topley plays, you drop Wokes. So I think that's where I still stick to that mantra
But if
because
you look into the point of view on the game one, Vokes was their best bowler with the new ball. So would you still keep him aside? Because I think looking into the bowling options England has, the real threat I think with the new ball is Chris Vokes, and the secondary I think could be Reece Topley. That's the reason why I'm saying if you need early wickets, you need these two to play together. If Vokes plays, you want to play Topley as well. Is Sam Curran the only option you have to leave out?
yeah, I think so because you can't drop any of the batsmen, can you really? So and then the bowling wise, you've got to put a fast bowler in, and uh, having two all rounders who are not express with the ball and not explosive with the bat. That's the only thing. I think. Yeah, as I say, you can play Wokes. It's a very fine margin between Wokes and Curran. There's not that much difference. But for me, I still like if you've got two right arm quick bowlers, you need one lefty in. So how are you going to put that in your makeup? And that's why I say if Willie plays, I probably would stick to. I would definitely put Wokes in. So yeah, it's a very close battle between that really, and I think what we'll see is the specialists on this type of wickets will come good. So your batting depth is very important. So yeah, it's a very fine line, but I think Topley or Willie comes in and you drop one of Wokes or you drop Curran.
All
So
right.
I think that's the way it's going to go.
All right, and we move on to match number two. That is Pakistan versus Netherlands. That was in Hyderabad, where Pakistan posted around 280 odd runs, and Netherlands they were looked good in the chasing. After that, they collapsed. And how impressive! I'll include this game as well. In terms of, if you say it in a very positive manner, how impressed are you with Netherlands putting up a show in these two games?
It's a difficult one because again, with the associate nations, you'll have 4 or 5 good players. Where they lack it is that depth. They just lack depth. Against Pakistan, 282 against a quality team, say New Zealand, India, Australia, or England, would win that game probably with 4 wickets. As soon as Vikramjeet got out
Yeah,
and Bat lead got out, they couldn't recover. The tail couldn't wag, and they were about 80 runs short. So I think that's what the big difference between these teams are: the associate teams. Then you have your second tier teams, and then you have your elite teams. I think there's 3 tiers of the World Cup, and I think this is the reason why at the moment things aren't getting. The only interesting games will be when the team plays the big team, because you can work out the top 5 or 6, and it's going to be, then you kind of look at net run rate, head-to-head records against those to see where the teams actually finish. So, yeah, Netherlands, they've not surprised me how well they've played, because that team has taken over the space of West Indies. So they've got to have something decent about them. But overall, I still think it's one that Pakistan won. And what did Pakistan bat badly against that attack? I would say they did. Yeah, and we saw today New Zealand
yeah.
making 322. So Pakistan were 40 runs short in that game, and there's no way Netherlands will win this game.
And adding to the point, Pakistan's bowling attack. It was against Netherlands. That's the reason why they came back well and they won the game. That will give them a good big boost. But do you think they are that threatening without Nasim Shah? Because we have seen Shaheen, Hassan Ali, Haris Rauf, Nawaz Shadab, and a little bit of Iftikhar Ahmed. So do you think these six bowlers can trouble big teams and win a World Cup?
No, no, and the reason why, I think their bowling is completely reliant on the 3 bowlers. Shaheen, elite. Haris Rauf, elite. But the problem with those 2 bowlers, they can get hit for runs. Rauf or Shaheen at the death, at the top of the order, take the wickets very, very good. At the death, when the pressure is on, especially if they're defending and the total is there, they can lose their heads. And whereas Naseem Shah, for me, was consistently,
Yeah,
one of the perfect bowlers that would be consistent with his economy, won't take the wickets of the other guys, but you need that balance in the attack. And unfortunate, Jija Hassan Ali, he can go for runs as well. So they've got potentially leakages in a lot of runs come in the middle and the end of the game. At the top, they're still going to be very, very good, but at the end, they're not going to be good. And the problem they have is against the spinning options. The spinning option there isn't an elite spinner there. So they really
yeah.
lack that depth, and put that in line with their 6 and 7 in their batting lineup, they I think they will struggle. I think if they had one more player up the top in good form and Naseem Shah, then this Pakistan team is a dangerous team.
Yeah, because their middle order is not that stable. Yes, Saad Shakil played a very good knock that game, but their openers are also not in good form. So we'll see what they do tomorrow. They have an Asian battle against Sri Lanka. That's going to be a good game at the same venue. But moving on to Afghanistan versus Bangladesh, match number three. It was a day game. But before we move on to the match, you are very familiar with this ground, and I want to know your opinion, the reason why this ground, they were good in the IPL, but what is the issue they are facing right now? Dharamsala, what's the issue with the outfield?
Oh, in the Himalayas, the altitude, the weather, it's all intermittent. There's not like on sea level grounds where you get good drainage as well. Before the IPL, the whole of the Dharamshala was
Yeah,
the
we saw
grass
that.
had been recovered. So again, I think this time they haven't done it. So they laid the grass down, and this time they've just obviously let the elements to it, and it isn't as good. And this is what you'll have when a lot of cricket isn't played at that venue. So I think that's the reason why the outfield isn't up to scratch. And again, aesthetically, it's a beautiful pitch, but again, the weather conditions, the location, the drainage of it, it isn't like your traditional pitch. And from me, Mohali is the best pitch in India. It's a
Absolutely.
beautiful ground. The carpet, I've touched the grass on Mohali, and it's amazing. It's not much difference to Edgbaston, so it's that level. And then the drainage system in Mohali is very, very good. So the drainage system in this ground isn't as good. It's a beautiful ground, but I think that's the issue why. And yeah, it's
Absolutely.
it's it's a pity.
Like Deepu said
But it,
that they have relayed the outfield twice. Who does such big changes in a World Cup year? That too twice.
yeah, that's the problem. 'Cause they don't play as much. So again, they'll try to fix it, but the grass needs to be consistent. And unfortunately, at that high level, you can't be consistent with it. So you once you change it, however it seeds and grows is dependent on the weather. So I think yeah, Zameen mushkil hai hote hain, man.
Absolutely. But like, according to you, how long does it take? Does it take a week or so, or it takes more than that?
I think it will take more than that, and it also depends on the amount of sunshine that's on there as well. And I don't know
Because
what the weather there is at the
if you
moment,
look
but
into that, tomorrow they have a game at against England, Bangladesh, and they have the next one on 17th. So they have a 7 day gap or 6 day gap if you look into that.
yeah,
So is it
maybe
possible
for
to
the
get it?
second game it'll be fine. But tomorrow, I've not really kept with the weather up there, but it's everything, and you need sunshine. The grass, once you relay the grass, the amount of sunshine it gets, the amount of and again usage as well. So the grass knits together. It's going to be a problematic. So I think hopefully, because when they relayed it for the IPL, they relayed it quite a long while before it was there, so they could manage it. But this grass, I think they've really struggled with this one. So, but again, it's the weather and the time of the year. You do something in April, you got May, June, July. You got that heat wave, and then India's, although it's coming through heat, it's more humid type of heat, isn't it? So I think that's the problem they have with that ground.
But like my question is that I forgot what I was about to ask. But yeah, looking into that. But tomorrow England was yes. What if in case it rains for an hour or so? Will that spoil the whole game? Because I had read somewhere that if it rains for an hour or so, then there's no chance of recovery. Is it so?
That's true. The drainage is there. It's not your normal traditional pitch where the drainage can happen quite quickly, and because the grass is all patchy as well, we've got to look at the player safety as well. So you'll probably take that more. They'll be more careful if there's a delay in the game and through due to rain. So I think yeah, the groundsman has his work up to date tomorrow.
All right. And Deepu says, in India's case, if the condition of the outfield remains same, we need to rest Bumrah because even Tuskin were also struggling. And we are facing New Zealand at the ground, but it's not now. But it's around the 20th or 22nd of October. We still have time. We'll see what they do. But moving on to that game now, Afghanistan versus Bangladesh. Who impressed you more? Or if I could come into this question, that which team you think played to their potential? Was it a bad collapse from Afghanistan or a very good bowling from Bangladesh?
Uh, Bit of both. Again, I think that's the problem with Afghanistan. They're so used to playing T20 cricket, and the mentality seems wrong for the longer format. And I think the amount of games I've just followed in the media when they finish before 40 overs with the bat just means that they haven't got the batting depth to post a good score, and then they haven't got the bowling depth or the variety in the bowling to trouble a very good batting team. Rashid Khan is the prime example of four overs, absolutely amazing. But then take him out when he has to bowl 10 overs, and not with the same quality on the other side of the bowling. So the bowling tandem isn't quite as good as it would be for an IPL team or a Big Bash team, or even a 100 team for that matter. You have a lower level on there, then there's not coming any pressure on two ends. It's only one end that a batsman has to see. and he's a lot easier to play in that condition. So I really think that Bangladesh overall is a stronger team than Afghanistan because they've got more of their bases done.
Absolutely.
But Afghanistan can be dangerous, and they've really got to restrict a team if they're batting second to a lower score for them to have a chance to win the match. Whereas I think when India play them, if India bat first, get 300, Afghanistan will never make 300 against a team like India.
Absolutely, and that's the reason why we discussed too. Strength for Afghanistan is win the toss, bat first, score at least 250 around, and then defend. But they did not have enough runs on the board in the previous game to win a game. But big win for Bangladesh, at least to start a tournament. South Africa versus Sri Lanka. Did it surprise you, or was it not because it was too good South Africa? Well, what? Firstly, it surprised most of us, including Deepu and myself as well. Delhi, it turned out to be a run scoring game, not a rank turn up. It surprised most of us in terms of the pitch of Delhi. How was your reaction to that, and then into the performance of South Africa?
Again, this is the thing that we're talking about in Dharamshala. They've relayed the pitch. They've spent quite a bit of money upgrading the facilities. And again, first match to have a wicket like that, whether that maintains the whole process to run the World Cup. Now that the weather's slightly changing in India as well, we'll wait and see. But very surprised on South Africa. Usually again, a couple of the players looking forward to Klaassen, but he didn't. It wasn't him. It was Markram. Markram, De Kock getting the runs, and Van der Dussen getting the runs. So again, that was pretty good to see South Africa win that game, because I think that was a 50-50 call at the game at the start of the game. We don't know which way. Well, Sri Lanka has done really well, but the ease of losing, winning by 100 runs, scoring 400 odd, and that was good. But again, the South African bowling wasn't up to mark as well against a quality team.
Absolutely, you're let in the 400 game. You're letting the opposition reach up to 320 is not good enough.
It's not good enough. It's not good enough. And again, that's what you've got to realise. Had again Sri Lanka got the batting depth right, that would have been an interesting game. But once you got 400, you are such in a box seat. There's no way a team should get 300 to get that. Just to lose by 100 runs just doesn't
Absolutely.
tell me something's not right there. So yeah, we'll see. South Africa got plenty of challenges against the better teams, but very very good victory for them.
But if you look into that, many were saying that Tabrez Shamsi should be part of this side. If you had to choose between Maharaj and Shamsi, any one, who would it be?
I'd still go for Maharaj. I think Maharaj is for me a lot more consistent. He's been, a linchpin in this team quite well. Shamsi comes in, comes out, comes in, comes out. Played in the Rajasthan Royals team, a couple
Yeah,
of years back. All the fans were very, very happy to have Shamsi in the team, but he absolutely now he got absolutely slaughtered, and he didn't perform. So I've been worried about him, although he's had the number one world ranking for quite a while. Yeah, he's never done something that I've really said, "Wow, this is the best spinner in the world," kind of thing. I haven't got that vibe from him. Whereas Keshav Maharaj, he's always been consistent, very economical, very wily, and again, he's not alien to Indian conditions. So I still think, yeah, probably Maharaj still edges it for me out of those two.
absolutely. Deepu says a very funny but realistic comment is that Shamsi is good in bigger grounds. But in case he would have played yes that game at Kotla, then his balls would have landed in the India gate. So it's a small venue. It could be possible, but we'll talk about a lot of things about this game, South Africa, Sri Lanka. I just can't wait to talk about yesterday's game. Is it India, Australia? I'll bring this point first. That is, Sanjay says, would you agree if I say that India has overcome one of the toughest hurdle since Aussies are considered as a very capable team? Do you agree to this?
Yes, because it's mentally beating one of your key rivals is the main purpose of yesterday, and to win from objectively a losing position, because that's what it was. Had Marsh taken that catch, It's very fine margins.
It is a different
Could India
picture.
still make 200 with the rest of their batting? I don't think they could. I don't think they could. Um, and again, for India, lot of lessons learnt there. They had Australia by the throat, once 150 or for 7 or 8 at that moment, and then the tail wagged. The 28 from Stark was always going to be very important, and
Very, very.
psychologically keeping them under 200, India would have gone very buoyant in there. And then you look at the Australian attack. Stark hasn't played much in India, but all the other players have. Yeah, so all the other bowlers are used to Indian conditions, and I think that makes a big difference when they come and play here. Whereas, that's what we've always said against the younger Indian players, not having the experience in BBL or county game or the T20 Blast here, they are definitely one step behind what Australians are when they go to India. So that was it. But again, India fielding really impressed me. The
Absolutely.
bowling really impressed me up until the end. They picked the right team, the right selection for that ground for those conditions. Australia, Zampa, is he good enough? Is he your elite level spinner? I don't think he is. Then you go into your Labuschanes and you go into your Smiths and you go into your Maxwells, and those bowlers aren't elite level spinners. And then your attack, your bowling attack, Hazelwood, fantastic, very consistent. Starr can go for runs, but very dangerous with the new ball. And then Pat Cummins gives you the consistency, and Cameron Green can get hit for runs. So they do have a lot of bases covered, and it was a very good clinical performance from India in the field. But in the batting, as we said before, if Shubman doesn't play, can we trust Ishan Kishan to open? Massive question mark. And Shreyas Iyer against very good pace has always been a problem.
Absolutely.
So how are we
I
going
was
to
about to come to
overcome
this
that?
point. I was definitely about to come to this point after this comment. Says that we have played Australia against Aussies the whole year since February constantly. That has helped us a lot, says Deepu. But like yesterday, when I was at least in after the first innings 200 target, I was not that relaxed because it's the Aussies. And before the players were getting onto the field, and my father said one thing that I hope India gets off to a good start. If they give a sneak opportunity to the Aussies, they will thrive on you. And that's the reason why it was 2 for 3. It could have been a different picture if it could have been a 12 for 4 if Marsh had taken that catch. But then came in KL Rahul and Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli, we know the chase master, but I want to talk about KL Rahul in the middle order. How settled has he been, and also his comeback?
Yeah, as I said, I've always said KRL at 4, even in the test team, 5. Said it for years. I said the thing is, brand new ball, pressure on up the top. I'm not seeing him
Yeah,
really impress me. Yeah, one of my first games of watching ever India was KRL, England versus India in Manchester, 2016 T20 game. I went to Manchester and he knocked a century in that game. And I've never
all right,
seen a batsman, impress me so much uh,
all
than
right.
that. And he's went downhill. He's got a place now. He's got a bat 4. He's got a bat 5. 4 or 5 is a perfect position for him to bat. And I think that move has suited him down to the ground. He's had time off. He's come back into form. He's came into form in the warm ups, and he's mentally ready and feels part of that position. So that's why I was really happy that KL Rahul didn't open the batting. I don't
Yeah,
think we can trust him to open,
yeah.
but 4 or 5, the right time. Like yesterday, he came in a bit earlier than normal, but the middle
He did a
time when you
couple
don't
save
have to
of
take risks.
1983.
Yeah, when the middle parts of the innings, which is going to win this World Cup, I think this is where a lot of the fans have to think. It doesn't matter what happens at the start, doesn't matter what happens at the end. It's those key middle overs, from 20 overs to, it could be 35. Those 15 overs are very, very key. If you can accelerate in that time, the team that accelerates most will win the World Cup. And it's good to have a player like KRL to come in that time, because if he's spinning a lot, he can play that.
Yeah,
If it's quick bowling, he can play that. Not enough, not in swinging conditions. I think keep him away from that part of the game. So
yeah.
other than that,
When the swing is done, it's very difficult to get KL Rahul out within his defense. He's very strong in that because he plays so late. So that's the reason
yeah,
why when it was 12 for 3 at that position, I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried because KL is there. I know he can stay at one end, release this pressure, and then carry on the game. That exactly what both of them done. Virat Kohli, no mentions. Once again, missed out on 100. We were very gutted. Similarly, KL Rahul, he wanted to hit a four, then eventually went for a six times, just too well. But talking about the dismissals, I want a very fair point from you. Kishan's dismissal. Would you rate that as an unlucky, or would you rate that as a poor shot?
Poor shot, 100%. Shouldn't be going anywhere near that in normal cricket. And again, you just look. As I say, we saw how India played in the first innings. He's been fielding on that position. All you have to do is see out 5 overs. Yeah, tell yourself no risk for 5 overs. We're not chasing a massive score. I don't want to put pressure on the team. I don't need to go express up top. And to play a shot like that and get out was ridiculous. And it wasn't a great ball. It was just a nice average ball, and
That's
he hit
correct.
it
It was
straight to
wide
the fielder.
outside the off stump. Yeah, it was way
He just
wide
hit
out.
it, and yeah, should just let it go. Just let it go. And again, I think yesterday we saw one thing: it's getting yourself in. I think that's the key. Once you get yourself in, you can stay in. The good players will stay in for a long. And again, when you're chasing something like 200, you only basically need one good partnership, 100 partnership, and you're halfway there. So I think it was bad. It was a brain fade for Ishan on that one.
All right, Deepu says that he should have taken the chance of being the replacement player and he should have made a statement. Yeah, but then going to Rohit Sharma's dismissal, just too good ball, right? Unplayable
Too
is
good
my
ball,
opinion.
unlucky. Unlucky. It was a 50-50 call. Umpire's call looked a bit high to me. I'll be honest with you.
Me as well. That's the reason why when I saw he was going to discuss with Virat as a review, I said go for it because I think it was going over leg. I thought because
Yeah,
it was
I thought it
way
was going over leg, and I thought, yeah, it looked pretty straight when it was there first. But you look at the knee roll; it was on top of the knee roll. You thought, okay, height's the
because
only
the
thing that
bowler is
could save
tall.
him.
Hazelwood is quite tall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They
That's the
should
reason.
they should have just said, yeah. They should have just said, look, yeah. But again, yeah, unlucky. Good ball, good delivery. Again, the same thing. At the start of the inning, the footwork isn't there, so you just basically got to be able to fight that and get your foot movement working, get the timing of the ball right, and then you can go away. And the LB, for me, LB is the best way to get a new batsman out. I think the ball, yeah, you bowled a perfect ball, but LBW pitching the ball when somebody's got to move their legs, hasn't seen the length the bowler's bowling. It's probably you're most at risk at an LB early on in the innings.
He's such a disciplined bowler, is Hazelwood. He will just bowl in that channel constantly and let you poke. And we saw Virat was also itching to poke a few deliveries. He was very lucky yesterday not to get a nick. But yes, Deepu says that he's not the only one who thought it was going over leg. But I thought, even Paji thought, I think some of us definitely would have thought that. But the last, Hazelwood at his peak with the new ball. Do you ever go for a lofted shot over cover and hit it straight to David Warner?
No, no. And that's again poor game management by Shreyas Iyer. That was because the fact is you've seen two players go out north, yeah,
Absolutely.
and
That's
you
where I wanted
as a
him
cricketer
out.
you should probably be able to see that. Say, look, at the team needs me. I've just got to see out the new ball because that was always going to be the danger. I think once we got to the 20th over, 18th over, 19th over, 20th over, batting was always going to become easy, right?
Absolutely.
So if you are batting in the top four of a group, you just got to say, look, we just need one partnership, 25, 30 run partnership. At that time, India would have been 40 for two, yeah, chasing 200, and you could never lose a game from there. But from to be 10 for three and playing that shot, the risk of it, just didn't make any sense to me. And again,
Absolutely.
he's been lucky. To be
Probably,
fair, I think KL Rahul you can't afford to have two players out of form. I know he knocked a century in one of the warm up games, but
yeah,
the fact is
exactly.
you can't afford to have that. You need that extra player playing who's been playing consistently there. So he's a very lucky guy. He'll still play tomorrow because I don't think Shugman will be ready
Absolutely.
for Wednesday. So we'll see what happens. But against a team like Afghanistan, he might be very good. But against elite top bowling,
Exactly.
I'm not sure. I think the jury's out on
I com-
Shreyas.
I, I completely agree to this because I don't know whether the rest of them would agree or not. I was telling my father the same thing that he has just scored a century in indoor. The 3 games, the rest of the 2 games he hasn't performed. It's okay, but there is nothing that I will definitely playing as a regular starter in the game, because in these kind of moments you need to stand out and say that yes, I'm ready and I need to perform. You should have seen off the new ball. You should have stayed there, but like Deepu said, he has changed his stance for the short ball. Now your sometimes you said your strength is becoming your weakness. That's what has happened. Now he's chasing the white balls and hitting his. He's trying to be go shift the momentum from Australia to India, but that is not helping you. That's the reason why. That's the reason why I wanted KL at 4 and Ishan at 5, because that gives me an extra left-handed order. But I don't know what that could be an opinion for Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma. But we'll see. I am expecting him to perform well tomorrow just because he plays spin well. Not tomorrow, day after tomorrow. I
Yeah.
think because
See, this is the one thing that I really think would have really, if Rishabh Pant was fit, then Ishan Kashin Vishim, you get your lefty at 5, best 5, number 5,
and KL at 4.
Rishabh Pant, and then you suddenly in this India team then look a champion team, because
Absolutely,
if
absolutely.
Rishabh Pant was to come in at 5 and Shreyas at 4 or 5, whatever it is, I still have a lot more faith in Rishabh Pant than I would ever have in Shreyas. And we've seen
Absolutely.
with Rishabh Pant, and I've watched him live a few times, especially at Edgbaston when he knocked the century. When the back team needs him, he always performs. Ishan
He is
Kishan,
that kind of a
never
player
seen that.
that will rather give away the wicket apart from letting the bowler take the wicket. He's that kind of a
Yeah.
player.
He's that kind of player. And I say, when's the team? And I say with Raul, with Rishabh Pant, it's always been when the team needs him, he stands up. I've never seen that with Ishan Kishan. He's really blasts at the start. He gets into his rhythm, and then he's brilliant. But I've never seen him really dig in deep against a top quality team. And England at Edgbaston, Rishabh Pant,
Yeah.
cemented his time as probably one of the best, if not the best, batting. I'm going to say batting wicket keeper in Test match cricket, because I've never seen anybody who's been scoring in Australia, scoring in England. His centuries per overseas in against senior countries. It's a different
Yeah,
level.
and like you're from England, I would ask you for Rishabh Pant, which century of his made you look like wow? Was it this series at Oval, or was it last time when we played the KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant century together at Oval? Which one? Or was it the Edgbaston innings?
The Edgbaston one for me. Yeah, one I watched it live. I didn't see the other one live, but yeah, I met Rishabh, and this is a story for the listeners. And I met Rishabh the day before, the first
All
day of
right.
the Test match, and I spoke to him. We had a really good conversation, and I said to him, like, he talked about Bangla Sahib, his experience in Delhi and stuff like. And he was sitting there, and I said to him, the last thing I said to him, tomorrow, tu century banaoga. And we laughed, and he did it. And for me to see India in that context of where they were in that game, and batting looked very difficult for all the batsmen, but he just made it look so easy. He scored the century, and yeah, he got out soon after. That was the only problem with that. That was the only blot on the copybook. But yeah, that's what. But he's always performing. Australia's performed really well. When India really need him, he turned up. So I think for me, Ishan Kishan is lucky to be there, and I think Sanju is unlucky, because I think Sanju
Absolutely. It's
still has a
very
lot.
unfair, to be very honest. He should have been part of the Asian Games. If he's not
Yeah.
part of the World Cup, he definitely should have been part of the Asian Games. It's becoming pretty unlucky because this is not what you should deserve to respect a player. I think he should have been part of the Asian Games.
But yet
But we,
again, that player against quick bowling is very good. And I think Shreyas Iyer against any other team other than the top 4 teams, he's a very, very quality player, but he's not your elite player. And I think that's what will
absolutely,
come up. I
I
think in a
100% agree.
semi-final match, would I put my house on Shreyas Iyer? I wouldn't do that. No.
Never, never. Absolutely. And we move on. Just to give you a quick update about today's game, 99 runs victory of New Zealand today against Netherlands. And quick predictions for you for this round two of the second games. England Bangladesh tomorrow. Comfortable victory at Dharamsala.
Yes, I think England will win tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to seeing Livy on the home ground. Last innings was the 94 for Punjab,
Against Delhi. I
and
don't want to remember that.
yes, you don't remember that, and that's the thing. We'll see him obviously turn up tomorrow, and again, familiarity with the ground for him, Sam, and Johnny. I think is going to be key tomorrow.
All right. But then big one at Hyderabad, Pakistan, Sri Lanka.
Or very close game. Very close game. I'm just going to go for Pakistan because I think Sri Lanka will have a lot more pressure on them, and I think the early breakthroughs from Pakistan will get some rid of the top of the Sri Lanka innings. And again, it's a 50-50 game, but I still think Pakistan are slightly
Just to
stronger
let
than
you
Sri
know,
Lanka.
before you stick to your answer, Tikshana will play tomorrow. So do you change or do you stick?
I'll stay because I think Babur and Rizwan will is slightly better on the batting than what they've got, and then the two bowlers, obviously Harish Rauf and Shaheen, against their batting. I think they will be able to dominate them at the start, and I think the middle innings of Sri Lanka, if they're under pressure at the start of the innings, they will fall below the run rate. So I still think Pakistan would be slight favourites. And again, for them, the biggest thing is in Hyderabad. They've already played there. They've not had to move. They've not had to travel, and they're used to the, the conditions now. Whereas
That's correct.
Sri Lanka have come from Delhi to Hyderabad, completely different type of wicket. So
And the
I
morale will
think
be down after
advantage
getting pumped
Pakistan
for
for me.
400.
Yeah, I think and it got pumped for 400 as well. So
Yeah,
I don't see
correct.
Pakistan scoring 400. I say that for a fact.
But
But I
I
don't
would
see Pakistan. I don't see Pakistan conceding 380 whatever. So yeah,
But I would go against you in this one. I would go along with Deepu as well because it's a used pitch. I think I don't know. I'm not sure what pitch is going to be played tomorrow because we are already having a game today at Hyderabad, Netherlands versus New Zealand. But Villalage, Tikshana, Dhananjay De Silva versus Nawaz, Iftikhar, and Shadab. I don't think so. It's too good
but
enough.
the biggest thing that we're forgetting there, the best two batsmen against spin, Rizwan and Babar. So
Yeah, that
they're
agreed to
spinning.
that.
Their performance against spin is even higher than what India bat against spin. So for
Yeah,
me,
that's correct.
as a neutral of watching them, I've seen them two players against quality spin, and they are very very handy, and they don't have to rotate the strike that much. So as I said, with Pakistan, biggest thing they do put Sri Lanka in batsmen, put them in, get a score 275, 280, and then Pakistan will chase that score. Yeah. If Sri Lanka come in and score a 320, 320, 320 plus, then they will struggle because then Babur and Rizwan have to take risks. And that will basically mean if they get out, the batting depth is in there. So for me, I still think Pakistan is the favourites going into that match.
All right, no issues with that. We'll go on and see what happens after the game.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, India, Afghanistan at Delhi. Any outside chance for Afghanistan?
Very much doubt it. I think it's going to be hostile for Afghanistan at the Kotla as well because obviously Mango Man will be there, and I know that some of the guys from the group are
Yeah,
going. So yeah, watch out, Mango Man. But yeah, I think India should definitely be able to cruise that game. The batting is just too strong. And I don't see the collapse happening for 10 for 3. I can't see India being 10-3 in that match. Delhi back to Virat Kohli's, his stadium,
oh,
and I think we could see King Kohli get a century homecoming
fingers crossed for that.
for him. Fingers crossed for
Fingers
that.
crossed
But
for that.
again,
Absolutely.
one thing I did realize about yesterday's game is Virat played very, very good against the spin. He's been suspect to spin quite a bit as well, and the spin was pretty good, pretty decent yesterday. It wasn't exceptional, but he
Yeah.
he batted well against spin. He didn't look under any threat. And again, I think Kaya Rahul will come good, and I'm looking forward to Rohit. I think Rohit will get a good score.
All right, and then we move on to Lucknow. That's the first game they're going to host, and it's a huge game. I think first big game after England versus New Zealand. That is Australia versus South Africa. How do you see this one?
Ooh, I'm gonna go for Australia.
Why is it?
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go for Australia. I think Australia, having lost the first game, they know they've got to come back for a win. They have. I think they beat them in South Africa, didn't they? Was it three
South
two
Africa
two?
won 3-2. South Africa won 3-2.
South Africa, yeah, South Africa won in their home conditions, but again, Australia played well. And I think, yeah, I still think Australia will come on top. I think they
So it's
just
going to
got
be
more
it's
of
going to
a
be Lucknow. In case Lucknow becomes another Delhi kind of a pitch, do you think which team will beat each other? You still sticking with Lucknow, Australia? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I stick it with Australia. I think Australia are mentally stronger, and I think South Africa they're on the momentum, but I still just think that Australia, this is a very good Australian team. And again, still think De Kock and Bavuma at the top. But Bavuma is a weak link in that team,
Yeah,
although he's played a bit better than before. So there's the three wickets. Klaasen, De Kock,
let's see.
are my two key batsmen. If they can get those two out, then we can see what happens there.
All right, Deepu says gives a very important news. Heard Lucknow will be like Mumbai, pacey and bouncy. If it's Mumbai, then it's going to
So
be
you
run
will see
scoring as well.
Stark on fire. You will see Hazelwood with a consistent length. Rabada's been expensive, yeah.
Absolutely,
Ngiri's very
they're missing Nokia
unpredictable.
very much.
Nokia is the big one. I think if Nokia was playing, I said to everybody before, I said South Africa, you put in Faf du Plessis up top and as captain,
And
and you put in
absolutely,
Henrik Nokia. This is potentially a World Cup winning team. But
absolutely.
I think those are two body blows for them. And I think it's like India being without Virat and Bumrah.
Bumrah.
You take
Yeah.
if you take those two players out of the Indian team, they're not the same team. And I think with
Absolutely.
if Duplessis was captain and opening, I really think South Africa, they'll be my finalists. But it's a
Absolutely.
big blow for them.
And final game of round two before we move on to India Pakistan on round three, first game on Saturday. New Zealand versus Bangladesh at the Chepauk.
Very interesting game. We saw yesterday what is a good score at Chipok. Uh, yeah, 270, 280. We're looking at 280 score,
It's a match
Chipok.
winning score. Yeah.
That brings
But
Bangladesh
looking
into
into
the
the
game.
condition, Dew came in yesterday. So team winning the toss, I think, may also want to bat for bowl first. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Dew will come in. Dew will come in. And again, I think Bangladesh will rely more on their spinners
Yeah.
than New Zealand. So I'm fancying New Zealand. I think New Zealand will get the third
Same here.
victory, and they will then basically they just have to beat Australia and maybe one other team and lose against India, Pakistan, and they'll be
Yeah, South Africa, Pakistan. Yeah.
virtually in the top four. So I think I'm going for a New Zealand win. I think New Zealand they've got a team that can beat most teams. It's just whether they can take the pressure in the big moment against a big team. I think that's the only issue with them.
So like I've we have spoken about five team games in the round two, and mostly have gone with the big teams winning, including Pakistan defeating Sri Lanka. So we'll see what happens. But it was a phenomenal show in round one. Thank you so much, Paji, for joining us. It was a wonderful show. Before we go, Deepu has one last comment. Says Chennai will favor Bangladesh, and it's pitch because they will be used for India versus Australia game. It will turn like from ball one. Yes, but they also do have Glenn Phillips, Mitch Santner, and Rachi Ravindra. I'm sure he's going to play if
And possibly
Kane is
his
back.
Sodi. And possibly
Yeah,
his
yeah,
Sodi
even
as well.
Sony. Absolutely, even
And
Sony can play.
His Sodi's been quality as well. And he
Absolutely.
was very good um, in the 100. I saw him live, and he was just game changer every game. And
So now my
so
question
he's
here is a very interesting point. If Kane, I think Kane will be back in the next game. Who do you drop? Will Young scored very important runs. Do you drop Chapman?
Yeah, I think Chapman's going to be the unlucky man. I think Kane will walk into the team. I think they will stick to Ravindra in the top four. So
Top four?
where Kane fits in, will they put him at three or will they put him at
I
five?
think Kane owns number three, just like Virat owns number
Yeah,
three. I think
yeah.
Kane owns
I think
number
they'll
three.
keep him at number three and they'll just drop Ratchin down to four. So and again, I don't think that really weakens them. Uh, but again, I think Kane on the pitch psychologically is a big thing for them because awesome leader. So I would say, yeah, Kane probably will walk into that game. And again, it's a good thing for them. They've given other players a try. And I think that's what India have to do. In the next game, maybe rest Bumrah, play Shami, and then also look at the spin combinations. Either play Shardul. They probably will end up playing with Shardul as well. So again, giving the squad players the game time, That's important, especially when they can, and then have all your players ready just in case you get, an illness or sickness. Your players need to be playing the games. You can't just use 11 players and stick to 11 players. I don't think that works anymore.
All right, all right. We'll see what happens in round two. Till then, thank you so much, each and every one of you. Thank you, Deepu, for all your comments as well. Do subscribe to the Fifth Umpire. Thank you so much, Apaji, for joining us. We enjoyed the
Right.
show. Hopefully, we'll catch up in round two as well and see what happens. Hopefully, all our predictions, probably one of them were incorrect. We went with Sri Lanka instead of Pakistan. Otherwise, we were all together. So let's see what happens after round two.
Yep.
We will catch up together as well. Thank you so much, Paji, for joining.
See you
Thank
later,
you.
everybody. Take care. Bye
Thank you
bye.
so much. And also, each and every one of you, thank you so much for joining into the Fifth Umpire. Till then, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe. Till then, good night. Bye bye.